What's up, everyone? This is time to wrestle with Suplexus. I'm Suplexus, and I'm joined by
Piledriver.
And today we're reviewing All In London, All In 2, also known as. And without further ado, let's get into the matches. So the first match is for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. We have Better Than You, baby, taking on Aussie United Empire Aussie. So, you want to start?
Well, the winners of the match were MJF and Adam Cole, and they won the belts. So I was surprised by that. I thought Aussie Austin Open would retain maybe like a count out or something strange that causes like mistrust between the two. But then after they won, it made sense to me that having the main eventers of the show win the opening match of the show kind of builds it more. So I think it was a good call to have them win because it built up the card more for me. I was even more excited about the main event.
Yeah, same here. And I thought, like, I'll just tell right now. I thought they'd win the titles, and I thought it'd be to trick everyone into thinking there wouldn't be a turn, and I thought there'd be a turn in the main event. And I was wrong, but we'll discuss that more at the end of the video. So, anyways, this was a really good match, I thought. Really entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Finally, seeing the kangaroo kick was a good one.
Yeah, the double kangaroo kick.
It was like basically like a drop kick that hit two people, but the commentators are really trying to talk about it as if it was something that we've never seen before and some amazing moves. So
It's like John Cena's sixth move of doom when he did that weird punch.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know. And then the next match they had on the pre-show or the 0 hour, I should say, was Hook for the FTR Championship versus
FTW
FTW,
Championship.
sorry, versus
Yeah.
Jungle Man. What's his
Oh,
name
Jack
there?
Perry. I think he dropped the Jungle Boy.
He dropped Jungle Boy. That's why I call him Jungle Man.
Oh,
Like he should have just evolved, like most things from the jungle do. But
or Jungle Wanka. Yeah.
anyways, Hook won the belt back, and Taz was very happy. The only thing to me this match was missing, like starting not in the ring and all the spots on the car were good. I don't think that Jungle Man needed to yell into the mic, "Oh, it's real glass!" Like just let that kind of Marky Mark stuff go. But at the end, like I was hoping Taz would go in the ring and hug his son, but no, I don't know if they're just keeping the father and son hug on hold for some other bigger thing.
Maybe. To me, I think this was Hook's best match. Because his previous matches, I've noticed that there haven't been many weapons used really for his career. So this is him tapping into his father's extreme side a little bit. I like that a lot. I like the car suplex spot. That was a bit scary since it was legit glass, as Jack Perry said.
Well, he could have said it was legit glass and it still maybe wasn't. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that someone's getting hurt when I see them go through glass, whether it's glass or glass, and then they're all cut up from it. Like, that's enough for me.
I think it was real glass because Jack Perry was bleeding quite a bit on his body after
the sugar glass makes you bleed too.
Mm.
But that was the end of the pre-show. The pre-show was pretty good though.
Yeah, pre-show, one of the best pre-shows I've seen in wrestling. But without further ado now, let's get to the main card. Now, the first match on the main card was for the Real World Championship, as CM Punk defended against Samoa Joe, or Punjabi people say Samoa Joe. Yeah.
It looked like Samoa Joe was having a lot of fun in this match. Like I don't think I've seen that side of Samoa Joe before, and I didn't watch him when he wrestled in Ring of Honor, so maybe that's what he was like in Ring of Honor. Maybe when he wrestled in Britain, that was his kind of personality. But he's having a lot of fun, and it was great to see, especially for the opening match of the card.
Yeah.
It made you want him. Like he was dominating most of the time, but
Yeah.
As I expected CM Punk retaining because they're obviously going to do something with him having the championship that's exactly the same with an X on it. Like there's some sort of storyline they're building to with CM Punk, so I wasn't expecting him to lose the belt.
Yeah, for me, like CM Punk, the thing with his matches, to me, one thing, he kind of does the same old shtick. He comes back, he uses other wrestlers' moves. that's one small nitpick for his matches I have. But Samoa Joe was entertaining as ever.
Mm-hmm.
And this time he didn't have to do savage, I should say, or personal insults. Just having fun.
Yeah, yeah,
That's nice to see,
yeah,
as you said.
yeah. It was good. And then the next match was the Golden Elite.
Which is Hangman Page, Kota Ibushi, and Kenny Omega, Golden Lovers. Those two are also known as. And they were taking on Bullet Club Gold, Juice Rockhard Robinson, and Jay Switchblade White. Wait, maybe Switchblade is his middle name. I don't think it's a Paul Triple H Levesque situation. Anyways, also Konosuke Takeshita was in there. And this was a fun match.
Yeah, it was a great match. JR on commentary was starting to annoy me a bit in this match, though, calling out all the rules and that sort of thing. At one point, he said, "Why is everything golden?" But I found the other commentators did a really good job of kind of diminishing his comments that were somewhat snarky on there. But the match itself was really good. It was really good to see the Golden Lovers reunite. I didn't see too much, and I felt like they didn't do too many promos that really made the three of them have a connection all together as a trio. It was more like, we know Kenny's relationship with Hangman, we know the Golden Lovers relationship. If like it from New Japan, which I never watched, I just know it because they tell me.
One thing, we did watch that documentary. I remember about Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
and they had to play heel and face in Japan, so they couldn't get along. So it's nice to see now for me.
Yeah, because it was on TSN in Canada here, so we did watch that. But yeah, I wish we would have seen more of a connection with Hangman. And I know you commented that the ring gear was matching for the Golden Lovers, but not for Hangman. I don't know. Hangman, I guess he could have had the same print on his tights and kind of added some of his fringe tassels and stuff like that, and cowboy boots. But it was a really good match. It was a good second match for the card, and I'm glad that they put it earlier on the card, because it was a good match, but it would have been tough to follow some of these matches later on that just had a bit more build and emotional investment in them.
And another thing, initially I was like, should they have done one-on-one Takeshita Omega, because that's a better story. Now it makes sense, because Hangman should be at All in front of everyone. The Bullet Club Gold are pretty good, and they're just setting up for another match instead of doing All In Backlash, you could call it.
Yeah. So, all right, the next match was where am I? The FTR versus the Bucks for the tag belt.
This one was awesome.
They these tag teams always have good matches, whether they're against each other or whether they're against other people. There's no doubt. It did the same thing that FTR matches, I find, do a lot of times. Even when we went to watch Collision in Calgary, a little in the beginning, just a little bit takes a little bit to get into the match, because it's a little bit of a slow build, which is fine. I grew up watching wrestling in the 80s and the 90s, and that's kind of the slow build is eventually what happens. But by the end of it, you're just there's so many near falls in this match, so many times where you thought the other person was going to win. But I'm glad that the win was made still on a dramatic attempt. Sometimes what I don't like is when there are a bunch of near falls and then it's just a quick roll up win. I prefer it when one of the near falls is a payoff. So, but it was a really good match. Anything stand out for you in the match?
One thing I'll add to what you said in the beginning about it being slow. Somebody once said, "Good things come to those who wait." I'm not sure who said that. No idea.
I have no idea.
But anyways, Cash Wheeler kicked out of 3 BTE triggers. I don't think anyone's ever done that. That's one thing I want to add. That surprised me. But it's good for FTR. I think this match could have been 2 out of 3 falls and could have been even better. With the handshake spot at the end, maybe that's a down the line. But I feel like if you give them even more time, like the collision matchup with the Bullet Club Gold, they can put on a match of the year.
The no handshake thing at the end kind of threw me because there wasn't like they didn't win by anything cheap. Like it was a legit win. It wasn't like grabbing the tights even like even something little like that didn't happen. So
Yeah.
I don't know why the handshake didn't happen. But like if next week there's a rematch at All Out, I won't complain.
Me too.
Right, like I won't complain. So yeah, it's a really good match. And then we had the Stadium Stampede match.
Oh, this match. So, when I heard Stadium Stampede as the first announcement, I don't get me wrong, I enjoyed this match. I thought it'd be like the past three we got, where it's silly things,
which I enjoy, but didn't enjoy.
But for me, this was Anarchy in the Arena, except stadium version. Less of a traditional stadium stampede with like people getting run over with golf carts and like a horse riding in. Less silly stuff.
I think that when it's in a stadium, it's Stadium Stampede. When it's in an arena, it's Anarchy in the Arena. They are the same match. And if Jericho is in it, it's going to be silly. And if Jericho's not in it, it's going to be serious. So when it's the BCC in it and there's no Jericho, then it's going to be serious. Because I think that's kind of what happened. Because last time when they had Anarchy in the Arena, it was like the BCC again. Jericho wasn't in that one, right?
No, yeah, and one more thing. Like, I know what you mean with the Jericho, but one they did Anarchy in the Arena, the one with Eddie Kingston, that one you could argue was more nuts than this one. Like, by the way, that had my favorite spot of Eddie Kingston coming in. Remember with the gas?
Yeah.
And he was trying.
It set someone on fire.
We got a little bit of that with him coming in with the blood. Eddie Kingston, most of these matches, he's the highlight of. I gotta say.
Well, Moxley had the brander, and on commentary, they're like, "Oh, what is that?" Like they didn't know what it was. So I don't know. Jr. was on commentary. Was he for this match? Or was he not? No, he wasn't on commentary. He would have known what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess they could have used him, but he would have just It was a brutal match. I love the way BCC came in with the jackets, and I wish their entire team would have come in with those long kind of coat jackets. That was really cool looking. When Eddie Kingston's group came in, and Eddie just like pushed the best friends out of the way and like darted to the ring, and Claudio just like met him halfway on the ramp. That was pretty cool. The Penta spot, I legit thought that he was hurt.
Me too.
Because then he's like taken out of the match and you don't see him, and then he comes back reborn as Penta Red, I guess. I don't know. Like
they're Power Rangers. Are we gonna get a white, a blue, a green?
I don't know. He just came. It's like his when he returns from the dead, and then he has that thing. I think before it happened when there was like a graveyard or something. Like they kind of had his entrance. I don't know. Yeah. But that was like surprised me. But that wooden ladder did not hold him. They need the aluminum ladders.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Especially for big shows.
Yeah, but they still ended up doing this. But that such a brutal match. Such a brutal match. Sometimes I wonder if they need that much brutality. Sometimes I wonder if they could just do a little bit less, but let it sit. Like do the spot that makes you go, oh my god, and then just let it sit. Don't punch the glass and get it stuck on your hand like tape and then get thrown in the glass, and then someone gets barbed wire, and then someone in the corner's got barbed wire in their face, and then someone else lands on the glass, and then you finally punch someone. Like, come on. Just do a little bit of crazy and let it breathe. I was screaming.
I could definitely say this was not a Terry Funk hardcore match. As WWE said, this was a John Moxley hardcore match.
Oh, yes. Yes, for sure. Would have made Terry Funk very proud to see this match, for sure. I agree. Yeah. No one got set on fire. No one got hit with a burning chair, but it's still pretty brutal.
Yeah. I just gotta say, the fact in 2023 for wrestling, we're saying no one got set on fire is kind of nuts.
You only say that in AEW? Well,
yeah. And Cody Rhodes when he wants people to cheer.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty brutal though.
Yeah.
The Sue spot was also pretty funny.
Yeah. Uh, I hope they like ate the treats on the ground. 5 second drill. Maybe one of them snuck it
They
in.
should have taken a bite and then like checked it.
Yeah.
And then after this, we had the women's match. And when I knew the women's match was next, I was like, oh, why they put the women after this? But it ended up like being great when Saraya came out. Like I thought she was gonna win. And then when she came out with her family, I was pretty sure that she was gonna win. And the way that they integrated her mom in the match and the turn on the outcasts and everything with Tony's new Hollywood star character, I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah. And one more thing, I like that "We Will Rock You" entrance, like
Yeah.
you said. And uh, one more thing I noticed after the show. They did what Damage Control is doing in one night instead of like over a year. The
Mm,
breakup.
yeah. But because Ruby wasn't in the match, so having her come out and just get hit by Tony was a good way of kind of like establishing, okay, the entire group might be broken up now,
Yeah.
or if they're not broken up, they're not going to be getting along and they will be breaking up. So, but yeah, good for Saraya and winning that belt. Now, what I was expecting was Sasha Banks to like, be at the come down at the end of the round because she was there at the show watching like
Yeah.
something. I thought there would be something with her. The camera goes on her at the end, right? Since
Yeah.
she's the one that had the match with Saraya when she got her last injury that she had before her return to wrestling. So I don't know if it's building to something like a full gear match is going to come up, but
I have an idea I just thought of.
mhm.
So Ruby took out Tony, right? So Ruby's a face probably now. When Tony was trying to beat up Saraya, maybe Ruby and Saraya team up, and Tony has to call in Mercedes, and that's how you could
Did Ruby
introduce.
really take her out though? Ruby was just stopping her and saying, "What are you doing?" And then she hit Ruby, and then Ruby walked away. So I
Yeah.
don't I don't think I don't think Ruby took her. Ruby didn't take Tony out.
Well, they're on opposite
But
sides.
friends fight, right? Just look at MJF and Adam Cole.
I don't know if Saraya's gonna let that fly.
No, but for Ruby and Tony, I'm saying,
We'll have to see.
yeah, we'll have to see. All right, and then after that match, we had the Jericho match, and when
Oh,
Jericho
this was
said
good.
when Jericho said that he was gonna like when Fozzy was performing Jericho's entrance, I was like, oh, like I'm a Jerichoholic, but I was like, oh, Jericho's gonna sing the whole song, but he did a really good job. First of all, he did since they're in Wembley Stadium, they did a little Live Aid thing, just like when famously Freddie Mercury during Live Aid did the hey oh right
Ew.
the sing along with the crowd where he had them in the palm of his hand, and
Yeah.
these are all wrestling marks, but they're also British. Like they know they're Freddie Mercury and their sing-alongs, so it worked quite well.
Yeah.
He obviously couldn't hit the same notes that Freddie could hit because he's not Freddie. But the
Yeah.
way that he started above the entrance with that, and then they played the song, and he walked through the tunnel and sang down the aisle to the ring, but just got up to the first chorus, so it wasn't like the full song. I thought it was good.
Me too.
He wasn't hitting all the notes. He wasn't singing the bass, right? But I thought it was good. It was a really good entrance. So I was surprised by that.
Same here.
And then Will Ospreay's entrance was good, as usual, when he came out.
UK, he had the flag draped
Yeah.
over him.
Cody
Yeah.
style, like Cody does that too with the half.
Yeah.
I don't know what character or what video game they copy that from. I know Assassin's Creed is where like the rest of his robe is from.
At least he didn't get a neck tattoo.
Yeah. But it was a really good match. I was questioning why they had Sammy ringside like this whole time, and I guess it was just to do that little thing at the end with him pushing him off,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, like other than one bit of interference, I didn't really see the point of having Sammy. Maybe just to have him there for the experience. I don't know. I don't know
Even
what's
out Don Callis, maybe.
well, I don't know. But Don was with Will, so like there was a reason why he was there, right?
Yeah.
But it was a really good match.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the match quite a bit, more than I thought I would. Right? Jericho did it again.
Yep.
Main event Jericho.
This was probably Jericho's best match of the year, you could argue.
52 years old. Edge is only 49. Edge, you got more time. Don't hang it up
Yeah.
yet.
Wouldn't that be gold?
All right, and then after this we had
Scissor Me. Badass Billy Gunn and the acclaimed.
Didn't we have before this? Didn't we have the casket match with Sting?
Oh yeah, that was before the Jericho one.
Oh, okay, so we missed the. Okay, so the casket
Rewind.
match. Casket match. Oh my god. Sting is 64 years old. The whole time he's doing all these things, I am screaming, and he can attest to my screaming.
Yes.
Do not die. Like, why does Sting feel like the need to do the crazy spots? Like, just do the regular spots.
And another thing, I think this is more brutal than the Stadium Stampede match to watch.
Because he's so old.
Even Darby Allin, remember that coffin drop he did to the outside on the casket?
Yeah.
He bounced right off of that metal. Oh my gosh.
It's like a different level of brutality. Like the Stadium Stampede match was a lot of like cutting skin, getting cut open, bleeding, blood, like
weapons galore.
Yeah, right. Like kind of like pain through abrasions and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas their match was scary because they were like hard spots where if they go wrong, you could really hurt yourself. And when they're like hitting the ground and hitting the casket and all that kind of stuff, like it hurts no matter what you do. And if they don't land properly, like damn, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good match. Like Sting still got it, 64 years old. I cannot believe it.
Let me know what you think of this. I think it was better than Stadium Stampede, this match.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say it was better. It was just different. I think what hurt Stadium Stampede is the fact that a lot of stuff is happening at the same time, but you can only see one, and they only did a split screen a couple of times. I think they need to do the split screen a bit more, and I don't even mind. I think once they had a match on TV on a Dynamite, and I think they even split it into 4 or 3 screens at one point, and I don't mind that. I would say when it's like a pay per view that you're spending money on, most of us are probably watching it on a big TV and not on a small little laptop. So splitting the screen, like doing a multi-screen thing, I think would totally be worth it. I feel bad for the wrestlers who are doing these crazy spots and all you're seeing is a replay. Like, why not just have that happening live on a separate screen, right?
And one thing for me, say you paid so much money, front row seat in Wembley, you're not going to catch all of this match.
No. Yeah. And they could also split screen the big screens that were playing at Wembley, so I think that would be good. Yeah. Okay, so now we can talk about the trios match.
So, like I said, House of Black versus Badass Billy Gunn, and I was gonna say New Age Outlaws, the Acclaimed. This match, to me, it was good. I think it would have worked better as a traditional tag match with the story they're telling of could Billy still go. Like, I enjoyed the spots. I enjoyed it. Right person won. But what do you think of the match?
I liked the match the way it was. The craziness of the match. You know, you got to have a bit of believability that this, you know, is he 59, I think, or something, Billy Gunn, right? Or 58. So, like, you got to have some sort of believability that someone that's that old, even though he is in really good shape, can beat, like, you know, your Buddy Murphys and your Malakais and
Brody Kings.
And your Brody Kings, right? Like they're like Brody King's massive, right? So I think having it not be a straight up trios match allows you to take your just like dispel your disbelief kind of thing. If it was like a straight up trios match, then it kind of like gives, I would say, the House of Black the upper hand. I also think that the stipulation is what helped them win. Therefore, it kind of makes House of Black question their House of Rules kind of gimmick that they were doing, because the whole reason they lost the belts was because of their cockiness to have something like that in there. But then they, at the end of the match, they handed them the belts. So I don't know what's happening there. You know, like that sign of respect of handing them the belts at the end. Like I don't really know where that came from. I didn't understand story wise why that was happening. It's not maybe Malachi said something about it, but it's not like they were trying to get him, Billy Gunn, to like step up
Yeah.
and win the belts. And then he's like, "Oh, you finally did it, just like I thought you could." Like I just don't know where.
Brock Cody situation.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. The handing them the titles at the end kind of thing. So they are heels. Like they can be sore losers. I would have more expected them to, hit them in the head with the belts at the end instead of handing it to them or something.
Yeah. To me, it was respect, just some mutual respect, and nothing more. I don't think they're turning face or anything. I don't think it goes that far, but that's all it is to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now it's time for Adam Cole, baby,
And MJF.
versus the person who's better than you and you,
Know it.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yeah. All the devil worshippers were very happy today.
Can I go first?
Of course.
I thought this match 5 stars. Like the beginning of the match, they had the shirts on, and slowly Adam Cole started playing more heel, and MJF refused to do it. Like if this match happened 2 months ago, it would have been completely opposite. And some spots were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Adam Cole would do this. The suplex on the stairs, the pile driver on the table. And I really thought that turn was going to happen. But then they surprised us at the end. Adam Cole refuses Roderick Strong's help. MJF gets that roll up. I love this. I couldn't have done it better.
Mm-hmm.
Five
And I know
stars.
before the match happened, like you and I were, fantasy booking what we'd want to see, what we wouldn't want to see, this and that. And but like in the end, like whenever we were having a conversation about it, I was just like, I trust them. Like I know they're gonna do something that I'm not gonna think of, or something similar to something I've thought of, but better. And just the way they started, were friends, and then MJF kind of did the funny turn with the thumb and the eye, and then something in Adam Cole clicked, and he just got like really mad. They both
Yeah.
had like the t-shirts on. As soon as they put the t-shirts on, I'm like, one of them's either taking off their shirt out of anger or ripping the other one's shirt off, and both ended up happening, right?
Yeah.
When Adam Cole ripped the shirt off of MJF was such a good face in this match.
Yes.
Going to the dark side, starting to open the door into the darkness, and then pulling himself back like so many times, right?
Yeah.
Looking at the fans to help him get the strength to make the right choice, like knowing I'm about to do something I shouldn't, and using the positive energy of the fans to make the right choice.
Yeah.
Whereas Cole totally wrestled heel in this match. He didn't care what the fans were booing him. He didn't care. He just wanted to win. But at the very end, he decided not to use the belt to hit MJF. That would have won him the title. He threw it on the ground. He was emotionally distraught because he made the right choice but didn't want to make the right choice. Sometimes we don't want to do the right thing. We know it's the right thing, so then we kind of do it because it's the right thing to do, but we don't want to do it. And that kind of emotional, unbalanced self that he had ended up having him get rolled up, and it was a 1, 2, 3, and it lingered for a 4. Like it was a clear. Yeah. It wasn't like a. Sometimes they're 1, 2, 3 roll ups or 1, 2, 3 kick. It was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
MJF let go. So I don't know whether it was 1, 2, 3 and Adam Cole realized he lost and just stopped trying to kick out, and he was like, "Oh shit, I lost it," because he heard the 3. And then at the end, how emotional Adam Cole was and how MJF was like being such a positive. This guy, the devil himself, so positive, grabbing the Ring of Honor belts, Adam Cole throwing it, MJF standing there saying, "Hit me," just like Adam Cole did earlier for MJF, and then Adam Cole saying no. Like it was beautiful. What a friendship they have created on screen, and the fact that they haven't turned them yet is just gonna make the turn so much harder for me as a fan when it eventually happens because you know it's gonna happen.
Here's a term I won't throw around. I've thrown around for one storyline.
Mhm.
This was cinema.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. It was really well done, well scripted. The fans were right into it. Only thing missing in the match was a kangaroo kick. They did the double clothesline.
The kangaroo kick, that was for Aussie Open, though, I think.
Yeah, but it seems like MJF's one of his secret weapons, right?
That's like John Cena's fifth move of
Well,
doom.
they did the double clothesline on
Yeah.
each. They literally yelled double clothesline and then clothesline each other. And then they both got counted 1, 2, 3. Like
Or
that was weird.
the crowd. I like how they didn't do the whole thing like, oh, Tony Khan's restarting to get him to look like such a nice guy. I like how they just restarted it.
Yeah, and then they did announce Tony Khan said sudden death, right?
They did?
Yeah, they did.
I didn't hear
After
that part.
after like after and then they rang the bell. So the announcers
Oh,
did mention that.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good show. The setup, I know that you were a bit disappointed because you
Yeah.
prefer stadium shows like the Manias and stuff where they have like a big stage area, but I think they wanted to maximize the seats. The screen they had where they walk through the screens, and the part of the entrance is like that tunnel that looked really cool to me, and I really liked how they had the screens for the audience to see above the ring but quite low, because I know at a lot of WWE events, like when you sit near the front, you're constantly going like this because it's up high on the screen, to kind of see what's happening when you can't quite see it in the ring.
Yeah.
So having those screens lower, on all four sides, was really good, because I know like we've sat front row before for shows, and you like going like this, you can't see the screen, and then
Yeah.
we've sat in the audience, like in the lower bowl, like at SummerSlam for shows, and we're constantly going like this, right, to see what's happening on the screen. And so having it
Yeah.
close, nice. I don't know what that was like for people who were sitting higher in like the upper bowl. I don't know if the angle down to the screen wasn't the best, but for the floor and the lower bowl, like it seemed like it was really good.
Alright, so let's give our overall review. I'll go first. So, going into the show, like I told you, I was pretty skeptical of the card. I still think they could have done better with some singles matches instead of tag matches, but this show exceeded my expectations. I'd say I don't know if it beats Revolution yet because that was a really good show, but this is first or second for AEW this year, I think. A solid 8.5 out of 10 from me. What about you?
I really liked the show. I liked the pre-show and the show, and oftentimes I don't even watch, or the 0 hour. I don't even watch the 0 hour. So I think having a couple of the high stakes matches in the 0 hour is a good idea. I know that in some of the previous shows they've had, like in the States, some of the arenas don't open the doors early enough for the fans to actually get in there for those pre-show or 0 hour matches.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of why sometimes they just have like the one that's like right before the main show. But I think like getting more people to watch those and not having like the multi-man like battle royal kind of matches, and like something with stakes, everything and on this card pretty much had stakes in it or had some sort of good storyline
Yeah.
going into it.
Yeah.
The show, I thought that Tony Khan would pull out some of his surprises, like, yeah, Mercedes was there just watching, no real hints at anything there, no big returns, no Edge, which a lot of people thought maybe was
I
happening.
was
I
happy.
know I know some people wanted that, but like there was no like crazy return or surprise, but I don't think it needed it. I think this show was all about the AEW roster and what they have done, and they did a really good job with the show. Um, how good was the show out of 10? I would say it was like a 9, because usually in the shows there's like a match or something that I would say, oh, I would have changed this, or this, this wasn't the best match, or I was into every match
Yeah.
that was on the card. A couple of the matches, maybe it took me a little bit to get into them, but like I did get into them. For us, it started like the 0 hour started at 9 a.m. So it was on the Pacific here. It was a bit early for us. So sometimes I think that because it's a bit earlier, I'm not as used to watching wrestling that early, but still, like, I was totally into the matches, so I thought it was great. I like how they announced All In next year in London, because we were thinking of heading out to London to visit some family. So
Yep.
now we maybe are going to plan to be there for August 25th and go to the show, which would be really exciting.
Yep.
I don't know how good of seats we would get, but just I think being in that atmosphere, knowing that they have quite large screens so that you can still see the show itself like live would
Yep.
would, would make me want to go. Whereas
Yep.
for some of the WWE shows, like just the placement of their screens in some of the stadiums, the lack of the screens, as an attendee watching, make me not want to spend the money to go, because it's not just the tickets, it's getting there and all of that. Like, it's quite
Yep.
expensive. So yeah, no, I'm very excited. That was a good solid 9 out of 10. Feels like they kind of set the seeds a little bit, planted them a little bit, maybe for All Out
Not
for
too
some of the
much for the
matches.
world title
Yeah.
matches. That's the one thing.
So this Wednesday will be interesting. I'm expecting a lot from Wednesday, because Wednesday's got to wrap up some of the storylines that were completed at All In, while continuing and making some of them for the All Out show, because they want me to drop another $50 to get another pay-per-view next week. So Wednesday's the day to convince me. I'm gonna do it anyways, but like, let's just Wednesday's the day to convince me, I guess.
Uh, yeah, overall, I think for next year, since they announced All In, right, for August, but they haven't done All Out, if Tony Khan could delay All Out a bit, I think. There's
It's always on that long weekend, but next year's All In will be the 25th. It is still the week before.
uh, I hope I just hope that they could do it in October instead for storyline sake, cause All Out, like, it could turn out to be the backlash to All in WWE terms.
Mm-hmm. Um, I think if because they have two shows now, so I think if they took half the storylines of each show and half of the storylines for the shows combined, stream into All In, and half of them stream into All Out, I think you could still have the big matches, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes on the pay-per-views they don't get to have a lot of the so like a lot of the matches happened, like the women's championship match happened, and like the Adam Cole MJF match happened and stuff. So maybe at
Yeah.
All Out they don't need to do those matches. Maybe Adam Cole and MJF just are in a tag match
Yeah.
at the All Out show, and then the women's match, already there's a champion, then there's like the TNT women's match happens instead at All
Yeah.
Out, right? So just kind of like, it's like a night one, night two WrestleMania kind of idea, where you're splitting the card. Both cards are really good. It's just a week apart.
That'll have to be seen though on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I'm semi-optimistic. I'm a bit more optimistic about AEW's booking now after this show, but still a little iffy on the 1 week after and like 3 matches that don't matter too much to me being announced. But we'll have to see. But right now for this show, this was a hit. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you, Piledriver, for joining me for this review. This has been Suplexus. Goodbye.
See you guys.